It's Mickey TV. And this is my Super Bowl 52 NFL review of the Super Bowl game. I know it's like 5 months late. I know I have taken a long time to get around to this, but I finally have. And I promised I was going to do a Super Bowl review of the game, especially since I was there at the game. I didn't get much time to really watch it in between my breaks in that. But based on the feel in that, it felt like a very close game, even though the Eagles were in the lead for a huge majority of the game. But it was an interesting result with the final score of Eagles 41 and the Patriots 33. Quite interesting stats here that I'll open up with. If I would have told you before the game that I predict that Tom Brady was going to have 505 yards passing, 3 TDs with a quarterback rating of 115.4, even if he lost a fumble that was caused by a sack. Even without that fumble, with that 505 yards and 3 TDs, would you think that, yep, it sounds like Tom Brady won the Super Bowl again? I would think so. If somebody told me Tom Brady was going to throw 505 yards and throw 3 TDs, I'd be like, yeah, I would have a feeling. I would know. I would bet good money that Tom Brady won the Super Bowl, or the Patriots won the Super Bowl. But guess what? The Patriots did not win the Super Bowl. As we all know, the Eagles won 41-33, and I was quite surprised by this game. And I think it was because I couldn't quite make out who the Eagles were. They don't really have a great flashy quarterback, but they had a great defense, or at least I was told they had a great defense until we watched that Super Bowl, and obviously their defense gave up 33 points as well. So it was just kind of interesting how this game turned out and that the Eagles won. And there's a lot of theories out there, and a lot of people thought maybe the Patriots were totally into this game, or maybe Bill Belichick was like not really into this game or whatever, but I really doubt that. Every professional out there plays to win, and I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. On paper and with the experience in that, the Patriots should have won this game, but they didn't. And I don't know if it's because they're getting too old. Some of the key players getting too old, or if Bill Belichick is not on his game anymore on calling games and stuff like that. I mean, last year, when you think about last year's Super Bowl, they came back from behind from that huge deficit and won that Super Bowl. So maybe that was a sign of the times that they, even though they won that Super Bowl last year, in all intents of purposes, they should have lost that Super Bowl last year. I don't know what happened last year. I don't know if things are catching up to the Patriots or not. It was disappointing to see them lose. I don't really care for the Eagles, especially when they beat the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Conference game. But what are you going to do, And especially after dealing with listening to the Eagles the Eagles fans at US Bank Stadium going, EAGLES, Eagles, over and over again every minute. It felt like every minute they were doing that. But anyways, let's go to the stats of this game here, and we'll go back and forth between the two teams' players. Tom Brady finished 28 out of 48. And like I said, he had 505 yards passing, 3 TDs, 3D passes, that is, and a rating of 115.4. That's pretty damn good. And there isn't that much more you could do or say about Tom Brady in this game. Now, on the opposite end, Philadelphia Eagles' Nick Foles, their quarterback, he was 28 out of 43 completions, so he technically had a better completion rating for 373 yards, 3 TDs, and 1 TD pass. he had 3 TDs and 1 interception he gave up. I didn't write down his quarterback rating, but it was maybe a little bit lower than Tom Brady's. And then this was kind of interesting. They had their wide receiver Trey Burton, or maybe it was their tight end. I couldn't remember. He went in on a passing play and had 1 of 1 for 1 yard again with a TD pass to Nick Foles. So Nick Foles had a TD catch as well. So going over to the wide receivers. Wide receivers were big in this game on all fronts, on both sides. The big receiver on New England was Danny Amendola. He had 8 receptions for 152 yards. And then you have, and it was big for tight ends too. You had Ron Gronkowski. He's always going to put up big numbers. He had 9 receptions for 116 yards and 2 TDs. And then number 15, Chris Hogan from the New England Patriots had 6 receptions for 128 yards and 1 TD. Now I find this kind of interesting too because you rarely ever see too many wide receivers on the New England Patriots. Maybe you'll get 1 wide receiver or tight end that'll get over 100 yards catches, but when you see 3 of them with over 100 yards catches, and that Tom Brady had 505 yards, and right there you would think they should have won the Super Bowl, but they didn't. So yeah, kind of interesting information there. On the Philadelphia Eagles side of things, number 30, Corey Clement, who was a running back. Running backs were big in the receiving game in this game, but not much of a rushing game going on. But Corey Clement, the running back, had 4 receptions for 100 yards and a TD. Number 13, Nelson Agholor, had 9 receptions for 84 yards. And Philadelphia's number 17, Alshon Jeffrey, had 3 receptions for 73 yards and a TD. And one more wide receiver or tight end, number 86, Zach Ertz, had 7 receptions for 67 yards and a TD. The thing I noticed about this was that Nick Foles pretty much evenly well, maybe not totally evenly, but he passed to a wide variety of different wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, whatever it took, he passed to those guys, and I found that kind of interesting. That was more evenly spread out. Even the TDs were spread out amongst those players. The running game, like I said, there wasn't much of a running game on both ends of the ball. New England's James White had 45 yards rushing for 1 TD and 12 yards receiving. Philadelphia's number 29, LeGarrette Blount, had 90 yards rushing with 1 TD. So there was some TDs on the rushing side of things. And then on the kicking side, number 3, Stefan Gostkowski, 2 of 3 on field goals, 3 and 4 out of extra points. And then number 4, Jake Elliott of the Philadelphia Eagles, had 3 of 3 field goals for 2 of 3 extra points. That's the offensive stats of the side of the ball here for the Super Bowl. Quite impressive in that regard, in that both offenses actually had a pretty good game. I don't know if it's a result of the offenses being good or if it's a result of the defenses being that bad. You would think a New England's defense would be able to handle a team like the Eagles, but maybe the Eagles are for real. Maybe, well, they won the Super Bowl, but I just can't. It's hard to look at that lineup on the offensive side of things and think, oh, wow, they're a powerhouse. But they got the job done. That's the thing that I have to say in regards to the Eagles. And Tom Brady, my God, their wide receivers going like crazy in this game. 3 of them over 100 yards, and 2 had at least a TD. So that's my take on the offensive side ball of things. This video is going to be running late, so I'm going to make this a 2-parter. So please feel free to join in with me on part 2 of my review of Super Bowl 15. Please feel free to leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you like. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye.